Welcome to the Prospecting to Generate Leads and Customers course, hosted by the Urban League of Greater Philadelphia.
So our discussion is really about prospecting. There's a difference between a suspect and a prospect. Suspect is someone you're not sure if they are either in your target market or possibly or remotely interested in your product, whereas a prospect is likely in your target market and they've kind of sent some type of signal or given you some type of indication that they need your product or service or are interested in your product or service. All right, so prospecting really is not just about securing customers, it's also about um, beginning relationships. So it's our relationships with not just customers, but also partners and other resources. But from a marketing perspective, it's purely about really generating potential leads and converting those leads into customers and then having long-term relationships. All right, so here's what it is. It's the process of initiating and identifying contact with potential customers, partners, clients, however you want to choose. But some people say a customer is different from a client, depending on the nature of your business, whatever you choose to use. And it's not just about selling; it's about nurturing a relationship, but what's tied to that is to grow your business, grow your revenue, and sustain over time. And so, if you have a larger group or a larger organization, you want your team focusing on the people that are likely to become leads or likely to become customers. So, having knowing your target, understanding their needs. Otherwise, it's a question, it's a suspect. Here are some of the reasons why prospecting matters. By the way, when we're not, even if we're selling a great product, we have a great product, we could still fail or a great service. So if we don't have additional customers or clients in the pipeline, we could become stagnant and then we can lose some of our existing. So prospecting is something that we should be doing all the time. A lot of time, one of the reasons why I asked what came to mind when you think about it is some people think about it as sales, and not everyone feels confident selling. So again, it has to do with the language that we use, but prospecting is really about finding new contacts and then building relationships with them. When we prospect on a consistent basis, we're better at predicting our revenues, hence our cash flow. And then when we're communicating with potential customers, we learn more about how needs are changing, what the demand is, if we need to make any adjustments to our service offering or our products. And then there were a couple people who were participating in some type of pitch. By talking to people about what we do, that helps us fine tune our value proposition and how we communicate. So these are some of the things, it's obvious, yes, it's to grow customers, but there's some other areas where we can fine tune our communication strategies as we are uh, pursuing new customers. These are traditional and some non-traditional ways of generating leads. Now, a lead is really somebody who's interested, and then of course you have to convert them, but that's beyond the scope of this discussion as far as converting them to customers. We're just really start talking about prospecting. So cold calling is, first of all, it's the least desired way of prospecting. And you have to have a certain temperament to do it. When I used to run a magazine, and that's how we got our sales, and we call it smile and dial, or smiling and dialing. We just kind of call people up, tell them about the magazine, and we'd have to make a bunch of calls. So it can work, but you have to go through a lot of people in order to get an appointment. By the way, a cold call is really someone that you don't know, and they're not really expecting your phone call or your visit. So cold call can be knocking on a door And that's why we emphasize cold. And so, yes, I would say it's part of the sales process.
Mhm.
Um, just like any business has a sales process or marketing, sales is part of marketing. Cold calling is one way of prospecting, and
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
can hire a team to do it, but it's really about the average ticket sale or average lifetime value of the customer. It can be a win-win if you want to outsource your cold calling if your if the pricing has the right type of margins in it and the person could take can get the commission. What people often associate networking with is simply showing up to receptions and of course eating the food, but it's more about building relationships. I always say bring something to the table, offer something, and be a connector. That really kind of comes back. Let's talk about referrals. If somebody refers you to me and I trust and I respect that person, then I will be more receptive to having a meeting with you. Genuine prospecting is really about building relationships. And when we're sincere in our efforts, then people are more likely to tell people about their experience with us and the type of work that we do. One thing that I want to add that a lot of people don't do is simply ask for referrals. It sounds like for the folks who kind of offer something, you already do it, but sometimes people don't think about asking. And if someone is satisfied with you and what you do, it's okay. And there you could come up with there are different scripts that you can use, but even early on in the process, if you're okay with or if you're happy with it, do you mind telling about other people who can benefit from this work or what I do? Speaking, writing books, articles, papers, those things help position you as an expert. And whenever you are positioned as an expert, that kind of increases the perceived value of what you bring. And that is a can be a very powerful way of getting referrals and also um, lending credibility to the type of business that you have.